Did you know there's a secret world hidden inside the original Super Mario Bros.? It's called the Minus World, and you've probably heard of it. But did you know that the Minus World trick works on other Super Mario games too? In this video, we're going to try to gain access to every Minus World across all releases of Super Mario Bros. Now, the original trick goes like this. At the end of World 1-2, at the part where you'd normally access the secret warp zone by running up top of the screen, there's a glitch where you can travel through the wall, entering the warp zone before it's loaded. Now you can do this trick in a number of ways, but the most popular methods are to either leave one single block against the pipe, then jump backwards off the pipe, backing your head into the wall. The other way to do the trick is to crouch jump into the corner of the wall. This method is the easiest for most people, and you don't even need to break the bricks to do it. Now once you get into the wall and enter the first pipe, the game actually sends you to world 36-1. But the graphic to represent the number 36 is blank, which gives the illusion of world -1. The stage itself is interesting in that you are seemingly trapped in an underwater stage, specifically world 7-2, that loops back around forever, essentially locking you in a cycle that never ends, making the game unbeatable. Surprisingly, this glitch carried on past the original release, with the next notable version being the Japanese-only re-release of Super Mario Bros. For the Famicom Disk System, Nintendo's floppy disk add-on for the Japanese Famicom. In this version, the Minus World is accessed the same way, but instead of taking you to an underwater stage, the game takes you to a twisted version of stage 5-3, with all sorts of strange glitches. You can swim through the sky, there are crazy color palettes, Princess Toadstools floating in the sky, random glitched out headless Bowser encounters. Man, this place is wild. It doesn't stop here either. You can actually finish the stage and move on to world -2, which is pretty much the same as world 7-3, the more difficult of the flying cheap stages. After that, you're on to world -3, which is just like world 4-4, except here there's bloopers trying to get you. This version of the stage doesn't have the maze element, and at the end of the stage there is no Bowser encounter, and Mario rescues no one. After this, it brings you back to the title screen, just as if you beat the game normally, with the ability to select which world you want to start on, and the game is also now in the New Quest Hard Mode difficulty. All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros. Was a special version of Super Mario, created for the Japanese radio program All Night Nippon. A lot of people call this one a hack of the original Super Mario, but this game actually uses the Lost Levels game engine, which does have some technical improvements over the original. In this version, it is possible to do the Minus World glitch, but what's interesting about this version is that the glitch has actually been fixed. When you enter the pipe, instead of taking you to the Minus World, the game spits you out at the end of the level, just as if you went through the level end pipe normally. The arcade version of Super Mario Bros. Is called Versus Super Mario Bros. And features stages that many would consider to be very difficult. Now, Nintendo knew what was up when they created this version, but instead of going in and fixing the glitch, they tried to make it inaccessible by removing the blocks closest to the pipe, so you couldn't do the glitch into the wall. Because of this, I initially wrote off getting into this Minus World legitimately, but I really wanted to see what was inside. Of course, let's pull out the cheat codes so we can swim anywhere. And thanks to the very bottom ground blocks having no left or right collision, we're actually able to swim underneath the wall and break up into the Minus World from below. And just as we thought, Nintendo didn't fix the glitch for this release either. This Minus World here is pretty interesting. It's an underwater stage like in the NES version, but instead of trapping you in World 7-2, in this version you're trapped in the small underwater section of World 6-2. Next, let's hop on over to the Super Nintendo to try the glitch on the Super Mario All-Stars release of Super Mario Bros. In this version, you are able to perform the glitch in the usual way, but Nintendo fixed this version so that the Minus World pipe takes you to the usual world 4-1, just as if you went through the warp zone the way you're supposed to. Next, let's try the trick on Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, the 1999 Super Mario Bros. Remake for the Game Boy Color. And unfortunately, it's a no-go on this version. I don't think this game uses the original Super Mario Bros. Engine, so you can't clip into the bricks the way you need to get into the warp zone early. Different game engine, so it's not going to work. Next, let's turn our attention to the 2004 Super Mario Bros. Re-release for the Game Boy Advance. This version of the game is a straight port of the NES game, just with squished down graphics to accommodate the small screen on the Game Boy Advance. In this version, you're able to do the minus world trick in the same way as the NES version. And the minus world here is the exact same as the NES version, which I guess shouldn't be such a surprise since this is pretty much the original game running under emulation. Nothing for us here, let's go. Next, let's try something a little different. Back in 2014, Nintendo released NES Remix for the Wii U. Inside of this game is a version of Super Mario Bros. Called Super Luigi Bros., where you get to play the original Super Mario Bros. As Luigi with the entire game mirrored, so you have to go through the stages backwards. Surprisingly, the minus world glitch is possible on this version as well, but it's a lot more difficult. Luigi jumps a lot higher than Mario, which means you'll have to release the jump button at the precise time in order to pull it off. It is not easy, but it is possible. After about 30,000 tries, I was able to glitch into the wall and get into the backwards minus world. And surprise, surprise, this minus world is the exact same as the original game, just flipped around. So next, I tried the unofficial 2019 Commodore 64 port of Super Mario Bros. Being a port using the original code, you'd expect this one to work the same as the others. But this one is much better. First, you'll notice that this isn't world -1, it's world weird symbol 1. Is that a Bitcoin? So again, this is a swimming level, but this time set in a strange version of World 3-1. You immediately run into a swimming, hammer-throwing Bowser, followed by a section where you have to make it through a small hole between a pipe and a fire bar, guarded by a hammer brother. This stage is filled with crazy encounters like this. It's actually a good challenge, where it feels like the game throws everything it's got at you. After this, it sends you to World Symbol 2, which is stage 1-1, but here, all the pipes have piranha plants in them. This looks so strange. After that, it sends you to World Symbol 3, which is just the bonus room from World 1-1. And when you go in the pipe on the right, it sends you back into the same room, coming out the ground like a weirdo. And unfortunately, you're stuck there. And this is where the adventure ends. Very strange. Next, I wanted to try out the minus world on a very obscure port on a very obscure console. This is Super Mario Bros. For the PC Engine, or TurboGrafx 16 as it's known in the US. This is one of the earliest unofficial ports of Super Mario Bros., which is said to have come out back in 1993. You might notice the game running a bit faster than we're used to, but that's just how this version is. It's said that the coders based this one off the European release of Super Mario Bros., so when brought to a Japanese or US console, it'll play too fast. This version is based on the original code, so the minus world trick does work in this port. It's just a bit harder to do. This minus world itself is the same as the NES version, where it drops you into a World 7-2 underwater stage, and then loops around when you get back to the end. It's just really fast! So to wrap up this strange adventure, let's turn our attention to the unofficial Sega Genesis port of Super Mario Bros. Released back in 2010. The minus world in this port is very strange. Unlike the minus worlds from the other ports, this one is not a swimming stage, but rather a copy of stage 6-2, the piranha plant level. I didn't really notice anything different about this minus world versus the stage it's based on, but after this level, it takes you to a very sad world -2, where it's based on the cloud bonus stage, but here you fall from the sky and immediately die. I think this happens because the timer didn't load correctly and it doesn't give you any time, so as soon as it starts the clock, you're toast. Overall, it is a short minus world, but it's cool to see it in action. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for more videos like this. Thanks for your time today, guys. Goodbye.